after you get out, here you are, a convicted felon. You can no longer trade stocks, right?
That's not true. I do trade stocks every day.
Okay, so you can still, you weren't banned from trading stocks?
No.
Okay, but can you start your own firm, though?
No.
Okay, so you're banned from starting your own firm.
The only thing I can't do is start my own firm.
Okay, so you start doing motivational speaking. At this point, for you to do a motivational talk or to go to a company and speak at a seminar, how much do you charge?
Free.
Okay.
I started off giving free speeches. Then the first paid speech I gave was $5,000 at an entrepreneur's event. And then I slowly but surely built it up to around $50,000 a speech before the movie. Went to over $100,000 speech after the movie. Now it's over $200,000 a speech.
Okay. And now you actually have a successful company where you're booked all the time and you have a staff and everything else like that.
Most of my business is not speaking, it's consulting.
Aha. Okay. And how big is the business now? Can you say how much it makes a year? Or is that private?
It doesn't matter. I mean, let's say I'm more successful now than I've ever been. And I wouldn't just measure that in money. I'd measure that in the way I live my life and the number of people I empower on a daily basis. I have no doubt that in the next 5 to 10 years, I will make far more money than I've ever made before because, my business is really, really, just such a great spot. And I'm into a lot of venture capital, a lot of consulting. So I'm acquiring stakes in all sorts of companies. And these take a long time to mature. These are long-term investments. I don't do anything really for the short term. Everything I do has got a very long-term 3 to 5 year horizon. And I make money just on my speaking for cash flow and stuff. But all my real investments are very much for the long term. Many of them won't work because that's the way things work in venture capital. But some will probably become multi-billion, next Steve Madden shoes. And then ultimately, I live a life now that is so much better than the life I lived before because I was like high all the time, worrying about getting arrested. Like now I live I live a great life financially, but I live a free life and my mind is free and clear. I don't have to worry about anything. I don't look over my shoulder.
Right, because I think after you got out of prison, you were being investigated that you weren't actually turning over the money for restitution and everything, but ultimately they dropped the case against you.
Well, they were wrong. I mean, they were just fucking wrong. It was interesting because the judge ruled in my favor. It's like, fuck, like it was just a complete fucking fabrication. I was actually overpaying, all right? They were just so pissed that the movie, they didn't want this to happen. Listen, I shouldn't say the government. It's probably 2 people you understand? It's not the government. It's a couple of angry people that are no longer even there at the government that were just didn't want to see this happen because they were jealous of it or didn't want to see a redemption story. And they pressed a false narrative that I dealt with for many years. That was very damaging to me. That hurt my business for many, many years. But through hard work, through perseverance, through just simply doing the right thing, eventually the press realized this is all nonsense. He's actually paying back more and there are no investors left. And so I'm just paying the government. That's okay. I still do pay the government. But here was my attitude. If I have to pay, let's say by law, I have to pay 25% of my income. That's the most I could pay, right? So I'm just going to make so much fucking money that I can afford to pay 25% and live whatever life I want. That's always was my attitude from the beginning. I never cared about paying people back that lost money. The problem was no one was getting paid back. They couldn't find anyone else because they were all rich. People had gotten paid back. Originally, they ran out of people that were claiming money. That's in the actual original trustees report. So God knows what happens to the money that I pay over, and I still pay some, right? Another year or so, right? And I'm fine with that. But I never really cared about that. I never looked at that as something to try to avoid. I said, I'm just going to make so much money that it won't matter. That was the frustrating part because I was the opposite of what they were depicting. But again, through hard work, perseverance, and just doing the right thing, the press realized that. And now it's really wonderful. They get really great coverage again. And it took a long time. I think that's also a lesson to people that when you make, because I made big mistakes and I did break laws. And not that everyone on Wall Street doesn't do that. It was proven in 2008 how corrupt Wall Street was. But that doesn't make what I did right. But when you do break the law and you do get in trouble and you are a convicted felon, the world is going to judge you harshly. You have to earn back people's trust. That doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen in a year. It Doesn't happen in 3 years. Takes more than 5, 7, almost 10 years for me, just through hard work and good works, to earn back the trust of people. And now it's wonderful. So I say to anybody, whatever mistakes you've made, it's never too late, but you got to get out there and do the right thing.
Well, you were ordered to pay back $110 million. I guess $10 million came from like properties that they sold right away. So to this day, how much have you actually paid back out of that $110 million?
It doesn't matter what I pay back because I have no fucking idea. And there's 4 people paying back into the same fund, and the number was far greater than that. But you're reading all fraudulent documents. So let's just drop. I'm not going to get into this because I think it's a waste of time. Been through it too many times.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, when you look back on what you went to prison for and what you did and so forth, do you feel like you're completely innocent, you did nothing wrong, and you were targeted? Or can you honestly say, you know, I did certain things that made these people lose millions of dollars, and I feel bad about that?
What did I just say to you a second ago?
You said that the money's not going back to any actual investors.
Before that. Didn't
Which
I
part?
just say that I deserve to go to jail like 3 times already, and that I made mistakes? Did I just say that?
Yes.
Okay. So why you ask me the same question again?
Okay, fair enough. It was just a different angle.
It's not that it's the same angle. You're trying to push a narrative that's ridiculous, okay? Of course I made mistakes and broke the law. I said the first time I was guilty and Tommy wasn't. That was the difference in the two of us, okay? So, you know, this is a ridiculous narrative because it was 17 years ago, okay? And what I did say is that, by the way, compared to what everyone else did, almost like Goldman Sachs bankrupting Iceland and Greece, I did this much wrong, but I said 2 wrongs don't make a right. So, of course, what I did was illegal, and I said I deserved to go to jail, right? It's what I did afterwards that's far more interesting, I think.
Fair enough. Fair enough.